Okay. All right.
Matt, you sent it to Leonard.
Yeah, no, I saw that today.
That's what he just said.
I didn't realize it till last night when I was going back through all my emails. I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, I mean
Wait, wait.
he's here with us, so that's not a
Matt,
big deal.
send it to
Yeah.
Leonard.
Yeah, no, I saw that today.
That's what he just said. We're getting an echo
I
here.
didn't realize it till last night when I was going back through all my emails. I was like, oh,
Let's see. Can we
Yeah, I mean he's here
We
with
are
us.
live
So,
now.
Matt, send it to Leonard.
yeah, no, I saw that today.
Somebody needs to
There we
mute.
go.
Yeah, there it is. There, okay. Council communications. Yeah, they muted. Perfect. Okay. Let's give it a minute here. I know I got a couple last minutes. Susan dropped and but she sent me an update. And then I'm just looking up another screen here to see if I can get that update. And then I got a message from Tom Cove that he unfortunately got stuck on did we lose? He got stuck on a flight coming back from San Francisco, so he got a last minute. Gabe, how are you today?
Good. Good to see everybody.
I'm sorry we're not there in person. I had a last minute conflict that I just couldn't make it down there in time, and I didn't want to get stuck doing this in the car, as
No
they say. But
worries.
normally I'd be sitting in the room there with you, but I apologize for that last minute conflict for me. So, hey, so again, Tom dropped, Susan dropped. I haven't heard from anybody else, so I don't. Maybe we just give it another minute here, and then we can jump into the agenda. Um,
Is Bilal joining?
he is not. He's on vacation this week, so it's. I got that notification just the other day as well. So, let me pull up just while I get a second here. Okay. All right. No, there's Jason. I see Jason joined us as well. Perfect.
Perfect. Really? Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember everything that we just talked about in the last couple minutes was all being assigned to you. So perfect. Now we can just hand it off and be
I'm
done.
sorry, I'm getting a really bad connection here.
Uh, I like the camera cover trick. I didn't think of
Yeah,
that one.
well,
That's a good one.
whatever it takes.
All right. Well, hey, listen, let's jump in because I said this was going to be a quick one anyway. But here's kind of I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the right screen here that I'm looking at. Okay. So, as I said in my email, MOU, the Stadium Authority passed the study. So what happens now, the next phase of this is they do a 30-day review and comment with the state senators and delegates. And then during this time period, we negotiate the final MOU with MSA. So that's kind of ongoing. As a matter of fact, just got the MOU, the draft MOU here about 15 minutes ago. So I'll start working that with Bilal and we'll get that through the process. The biggest thing right now for us is just to make sure that we're getting all the county stamp offs on this so that we stay on time, right? And so that's kind of where we're at. And of course, the big one will be paying the invoice. So I'm trying to figure that out. Right now, I'm reaching out to our attorney representative in the county attorney's office because, quite honestly, I'm not sure if this gets who handles this, right? So that's what I'm trying to navigate behind the scenes on this one right now. But the good news is we're all in process. We're moving along. So the final piece and really kind of what I wanted to talk about today was that schedule. So based on that schedule, February to March 6th is the review cycle. The MOU, the goal is that the MOU is completed by the end of March, and at the April meeting of the MSA board, they approve the MOU. And then by April 15th, between April 15th and May 15th, the parties execute the MOU, and then the payment is received and transmitted from the county. All of that means that the work on the actual study would commence in June. And the commitment from the consultant is that work would basically be completed and deliverables in January. Then Stadium Authority briefs the elected officials and key stakeholders, and then the the release of the study is late January to early February. So here's my question, and Matt, I'm probably going to direct this towards you, but anybody jump in. In your experience of going through these studies and everything else of that nature, in that time period, I'm trying to figure out, we've got these other tasks that we've got to do, right? The subcommittees are working on. If everything, is it reasonable that we can expect to kind of get enough information that we can put our stuff on top of the final report in January so that we can have our whole report done? Or, like, will we see enough? I guess maybe walk us through that process a little bit. Will we get enough information during that time period that we can kind of assemble the full report? Or is our timeline going to be even later than that? I'm hoping to marry it all together, but ask for some feedback from you on that.
I don't want to say 100% one way or the other. It will probably be pretty close.
Okay.
Because some of it's going to be how fast they get respondents from, potential right holders that are going to put their input in. Going into the summer, like the basketball people will probably free up some, volleyball will free up some because their seasons are ending.
Right.
But like the other users, they might be in the middle of everything they're doing. So it really that's a big one, is to make sure that they're getting enough input from outside groups about what they're looking for and would they come here and things like that. That can slow it down if those groups are slow to respond. So, and it typically is not a priority for those groups. So,
Who generally leads that? Is that where Stadium Authority gets
Susie.
involved?
No, Susie does that.
Susie does.
Yeah.
She actually does it. Okay. So,
Yeah,
but
and they
that's the
probably
biggest.
yeah, because I've done this a ton with them. So when I was on the event side, they would call me for a lot of their studies, whether it was in Maryland or not, just to get feedback about what they were doing. So she has a good pool of groups that she goes to. So hopefully they just respond quickly. But I mean, I think what we're asking them to do, I think the timelines will probably marry pretty well.
Pretty much. And so then from us, from the task force and looking at the subcommittees and the other things that we have to look at, should we work on, I'm trying to establish that deadline and work backwards. Should we work on making sure that we're all wrapped up by the beginning of December and whatever those task force the subcommittee reports are and information, should we just kind of focus on it December? And
Yeah,
then
I mean, I
figure
think no
out-
matter what, we should aim for that anyway, whether their
Yeah.
report's done or not, because that way, whenever we get it, we just put the two together and call it a day, so they're not waiting for us.
Yeah. That's kind of that's the way I'm thinking about it. I'm just trying to make sure that we kind of get aligned, right? I want to make sure that we can communicate that and so that everybody's working on the same playbook here, as far as the subcommittees and everything else. Anybody else? December, I think sounds like the right time period for us to have all the subcommittee work done. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then December timeline. Boom. So then I guess working backwards from that, and I know everybody said about everything being in state being in session right now, so I know a couple groups are pulled. So coming into that, what should be the check-in time period? First check-in for any significant report from the subcommittees. Should we make that kind of the May meeting, April meeting? How much? And again, I'm
When
feedback
the
here.
session end, Matt?
April like 12th or something like that. It's like it's mid-April.
Would this meeting be after that? Keith?
No, it's going to be right, basically coincide right with that date. I'm looking on my calendar right now, Kelly,
Doesn't
but I
impact
think
me, but I don't know about anybody else.
well, I know Susan, it definitely, she said that she's definitely pulled in that regards right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely pulled until session's over too.
Yeah.
So May.
Not sure if the county budget would have any impact on
Mhm.
Susan and others as well.
Gabe, I got to ask you on the budget, on the county budget side, when is that in full force? Is that April through end of May?
Yeah, so the county executive releases his FY 27 recommended operating budget on March 14th. And then the council will have until June to ratify it, but really the work's done by May. So that they can kind of put everything together in the budget book.
So it sounds like then May is probably the May meeting, which would be the second week in meeting. I mean, the budget season will be ending by that, but everybody's probably gone around and around and knows where they're falling at that point. So that probably sounds like a good first check-in date to have kind of and what do we want delivered at that check-in date? It's kind of a final scope of their work and a plan on how they're going to complete it. I kind of want to make sure I communicate this. What do we think?
I would say a sketch plan, or at least an outline of what their report's gonna look like.
So yeah, the outline and the timeline to match the
Mhm.
December completion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, can we run through again what
Yeah.
subcommittees we have and who's on what?
Yeah.
'Cause
So, Keith, I haven't met with Matt yet, but I have put an outline together, but I need just a few minutes to make sure that what I see is on track with what your vision is, so that
Sure.
then I can sit down with Matt and flesh it out.
Yeah,
I read
and
my
just
notes, but let's just go back through it.
okay, yeah, and that's great. So first off, I'll start with the subcommittees themselves, was workforce development, and that was Susan, Jeff, Jason. And so Susan's communication on that was she has spoken to her colleagues at Montgomery College about the need for a workforce report. And she plans on pulling in the other members of that subcommittee um, to join the conversation as they scope out the work and to build the timeline. So that's kind of where Susan has started there. But that goes back to, the basically the enabling legislation on the task force was, and that's where these subcommittees came from, was workforce development and what is needed there. So Susan's gotten the ball rolling, but it sounds like she's going to be getting on the work of that. The other two groups was marketing. Kelly, and both of these were you and Matt, as well as others, but marketing to outside groups. So we got workforce development, we got marketing outside groups, and then we got facility and vendor coordination. Those were the three items that were in our enabling legislation that we had to kind of build into this program.
So, for clarity,
Yes.
some of the notes I started were, I mean, we don't even currently have an inventory of facilities or land or space for attracting sports events, because we have Matt's venue, we have parks, and we have other private facilities. So part of the exercise I thought we should do is try and figure out how to create a platform that has all those, what's existing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, just want to
Absolutely.
make sure we're on track. So what's existing, and then create a target list of events that we could actually start looking at now versus waiting until we have when we have, I'm going to be positive, when we have a facility. Also under our scope, I had that Matt and I would do the research on incentive plans that are examples that are out there, incentive programs that exist, that we might want to model something after here, and what a recommendation would be for creating an incentive fund, not plan, fund.
Yeah.
And then what that, where that would sit. Does it sit in government? Does it sit in a public-private partnership? And then how do we decide, who would be eligible? What's the approval process? I think getting a grasp on that, once we identify some incentive ideas, would be smart, because then we'd be ahead of anything new that might come into our market.
Yes.
And then,
I think you're right on target with that, Kelly. Absolutely. Because I think that's part of what we're going to deliver there. Perfect.
and then what our goals and success metrics would be. Current, like current? And then also, how are we going to structure an agency around this? If there's going to be, is it going to be Matt hires somebody that represents the county? Is it going to be me that has a business development rep that just works in the sports space? What is that going to look like? So I think we should put those recommendations on the table too.
I
We're
would
not
just
doing
add,
it now. I mean,
yeah.
Matt represents us where he can, but we don't have a full-fledged marketing and business development program or outreach person existing.
So,
Right.
but real quick, Kelly, that I agree with all of that. I would add, as we look at the current inventory of sports structures in space, I would also add prospective sports structures and projects that are in the queue, not just aspirational, but actually in the CIP. So, for example, we are in line to develop a new recreation and aquatic center in Clarksburg. And that's a little bit like a blank canvas, but it is a project in the queue. And of
Yeah,
course, the
that's-
Parks Department has a number of projects that are in the queue, sports specific. And then, of course, our friends in MCPS have attempted to convert all of their grass fields to turf, but that's getting opposition now. And Matt is my new hero with the letter that he wrote recently. But it's a project that's in the queue. It may not get funded, but it's in the queue, and it has sports economic development implications. So that scope needs to be put together.
Yep, we'll add that. That's
Yeah,
a great point.
We can help with that for sure. And just quick question, what is council, and I know Bilal's not here, but what is the council central staff's role in this? Are they helping with research and whatnot, or how are they helping? Because they are
So,
in the
yeah,
perfect position to do that research.
Yeah, I think Bilal can help coordinate that. The challenge has been most recently is that he's getting pulled into several other different projects, as we all
Okay.
do. So I think, it's a matter of getting, I think it's Gabe to that point. It's a matter of this is now getting kind of defined. And so now we can go and work with Bilal and communicate that and define that with
Yeah.
And
him.
it won't be hard for him because we're in the middle of the CIP right now. So all it takes is somebody from the central office kind of looking at the landscape of what's out there. And it's only in a few different departments, so it won't be that hard. But I know, for example, Montgomery College, for their East County development, there's going to be a sports component to that. So,
Yes.
so those are things that should be in there. And then with regards to the marketing, clearly we are in great hands with Matt and Kelly there. I can't think of two better people to help facilitate. But if there is anything else that you guys need in terms of overall assistance and help there, just obviously let us know.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And
for
Okay.
the inventory, we have some of that already because I know Parks did that full like inventory. That might be me parsing through it and saying like, yes, this is usable for sports tourism and this is not. It's like a local park. They just don't have enough parking at those things to even
Right.
consider them. And even like rec centers and things like that, like parsing through what I think would make sense and what won't, and kind of developing two lists. The private stuff I think is where we'll need some help with because I don't know them all. I don't think Kelly knows them all. So trying to figure out what those are. And as far as the human resource side of things, like Kelly and I and Lee to extent that Lee can help is great, but it's the backside is like we can bring leads, but they seem to die in the county. And how do we solve that piece?
Yeah, I mean, there absolutely needs to be somebody dedicated in Kelly's shop and/or MCEDC, or a partnership and an alignment with the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation and Kelly's shop. That has to be one of the recommendations out of this. This has to live somewhere, and it has to be whoever that entity is has to be given the appropriate resources to be able to do this right.
Yeah.
We also
Agreed.
need to look, what we haven't looked at in the past, Matt, is like running or bike events.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Out,
have. Don't worry, I have. But they seem to just not go anywhere because going back to the point Gabe and I are making, like there's no one there to champion them because I can bring them back to the county, but I I can't spend the time or the resources to push them through and deal, get parks on board and police and fire and anything
Agree.
else that those would require. I don't have that bandwidth to do that, and there's no one that exists right now to be that champion.
So that will be part of our recommendation, Keith, and
Yeah.
what Matt and I work on.
Well, I think that's absolutely critical, and that's the piece that I think everybody's looking for, right? Is that, and on the facility side of things, just two quick things on that. Darren wants to be part of that. He thought that was, I know he missed the last meeting, he's not on today, but he did email me and say, hey, I think I could, play a role there, and I'd like to be a part of that. And to your point, Matt, they did that study. Also, I was thinking about, as we were just talking, the study that we had the students do last year, didn't that include an kind of a review of the facilities that are existing? I got to go back and look at that.
It's
I'm trying to
regional, wasn't
remember.
it?
Yes, that was part of it. I will
Okay.
share my thoughts with that outside of a public meeting.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. I'm just thinking that it's just another source of some information there that we can combine. Okay. So yeah, I think it sounds, I agree, and I think there's got to be, along everything you just hit, I think it's, we've got to ultimately get into your recommendation that, like you just identified, it's kind of, what is the incentive fund? What does that look like? What is, what are the metrics that we
Yeah.
do that? Where does it live? Who does it manage? And the biggest piece, the last one that just kind of came up, is how do we navigate this? Who's the point of contact to navigate this all the way through the county? Right? Because I was just on a call this morning. I led a conversation in the economic club this morning about regional sports development, and that was one of the biggest pieces that came up. Is like, they're like, from a developer standpoint and from an organizer standpoint, trying to get through counties and the approval process is a bear.
Yeah.
And so I think as we outline this, if you're gonna put marketing towards it, you're gonna put everything else through it. Is how do we navigate? Where does that sit, and who's that dedicated person, and is there modifications to the process that can help these events happen?
Got it.
Because I know when they do like the PGA Tour events and stuff, Kelly, as you know, I mean, the county exec's office has a whole team that gets together. But, that's a major event, but why can't we get something like that? When an event reaches a certain level, it triggers that, right? I think
Right.
the only ones that get it are the major, tournaments that come into play, but there's another level there. So,
Yep.
Good.
I think Matt, this helps Matt and I work on our outline.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And hopefully with the incentive piece, we may not have to actually do the work ourselves. It's one of the reports we're working on from Sports ETA is talking about incentive packages, and we're doing a study for that. Just don't know the timeline on it. It should be before the end of the year, but there's a chance it might not be.
Will you get some early access to that, Matt?
As the
Given
chair,
your
yes, I
role?
will.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I made it a help frame, right? Kind of some of the stuff that we're looking at. And
Yeah.
I know we discussed at the last meeting, there's some things at the state level. And, the question is, where can the funding and to what level do we need it to really make a difference, right? And, I think we got to be able to understand that and present that to the council so that they understand,
Is there any overlap between what MSA will be doing and these subcommittees?
No, I don't
You know,
think so.
Jason, I'll take that as a takeaway to kind of review that scope again. MSA is kind of looking at, and Gabe kind of hit this before, was, they're looking at more of the regional and kind of statewide look at what facilities are in the pipeline, what is actually coming on board, and, matching that demand to what is needed, right? So maybe there is a little overlap there, and as they look at that, I don't know that they'll pick up. And this sort of, when Gabe mentioned this and what's in the county CIP, I don't know that they'll pick that up.
They might, because they'll talk to people about it, and they won't just look at Maryland, they'll look at everything around us. And
Yeah.
so they'll know what's being built in Virginia, what's in the pipeline in Virginia, what's in Pennsylvania, things like that. So they'll ask those questions, and they might actually be doing those studies as well. And then where there might be some overlap is really when they're talking to the events rights holders about why they will or why they won't come here. And then you'll get some of those incentive responses and say, if there's no grant program, then we're not interested. Like you'll get some of that response. But it's not going to be really real detailed.
Got it. Yeah, but that'll be good information to get and be
Yeah,
able
definitely.
to point to as we look at it. Okay. Good. Anything else? Kelly, did you get what you needed?
Yeah, thank you. We'll be on track. I'll work on something, Matt, for you to look at.
Yeah, I think we can probably bounce that emails back and forth and build it that way. I know because both of us are time crunch right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just mention a couple things before we jump off.
Yep.
So first of all, I'm super excited to be joining you guys. I've been watching peripherally and I am all in on this. You all know how important this is to me. So I want to be an asset, another capable set of hands, and I'm all in. And thank you, Jason, who's been doing such a phenomenal job. And we're going to continue to tag team this group together. But this is a very high priority for me. We are going to be planning a sports youth summit in the fall, not directly related to the work that we're doing now through this effort. But there will be a straight line that you can connect the two. So that's in its very early stages. And once there's a little bit more meat on the bones, maybe even by the time we have our next meeting, we'll be in a better position to report out kind of what that's going to look like and what it will entail, at least in concept. But the timing is good. The new council and executive will be sworn in on December 1st. So the timing of this report is perfect, literally perfect. Because if we release it right when they're coming on board, we'll want to get on their calendars during their December, January recess to begin the process of getting buy-in for carrying out and executing whatever the recommendations are. And so I think it's really exciting. And of course, Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez or Council President Fanny Gonzalez is going to be back for sure. And this is something that she'll help shepherd. I think there's a pretty good chance she's going to chair the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee in the next council. So all the more reason it's great to have her on board and help championing this for the next council. But we do need to start thinking strategically about who's we know is coming back and we want to make sure is on board and who of the emerging candidates are out there we want to help keep informed and get them excited about this work. So I'm happy to volunteer and help with all of that. But I just wanted to put that into your guys' radar screen because I don't think it's too early to start thinking about what the rollout of this is going to look like, because that in of itself is going to be very valuable in addition to the report itself.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Gabe. And I think as this starts as we start going through the process and formulating some final ideas, I think one of the things we got to do at the meeting, which I plan on doing, is to make sure that we're thinking about what gets communicated out, how is that, and where are we ready to start, kind of formulating those ideas and out there. I will just let the group know that over the next couple of weeks, I do have meetings set up with all the council members, and one of my topic items is just an update on where we're at, what progress, where we are in the process, and what our timeline is, so everybody's kind of updated in that regards. So to your point, Gabe, I think we got to keep that communication going.
And Gabe, I mean, you came for the one of them, but like I've been planting those seeds with the council for a while now, and even trying to get some of them to come down to Annapolis this Friday for Tourism Day, so they understand the tourism side. So we're pounding at them from different angles. So I think they're starting to come around a little bit.
Great.
Yeah, perfect. Gabe, anything else?
No, this is awesome, guys. How often do we meet?
We have it on the schedule for the second Wednesday of every month, with the commitment that we will cancel or have the meeting. We will cancel by the Friday before.
Okay. Got it.
And so, and I'm sorry you weren't on that communication over the weekend, but I had shot out about doing this meeting, but doing a quick 30 to 45 minute meeting just to kind of, this is exactly what I wanted to walk through. kind of make sure
Yeah.
we're getting all aligned and where we'll be. So, but I'll make sure you get added to all the calendar invites.
Awesome.
And that's the timeline. So
Cool.
good deal.
I'm so
All right,
glad.
everybody.
I'm so glad that Gabe is here. I just want
Yes.
to say that out loud.
It's going to be awesome.
I
Thank
know.
you.
Mhm.
So,
Awesome.
all right,
Thank you, guys.
everybody have a